So look at that, Fabian. I had to take it out of your studio real quick. There we go. Welcome, guys. Episode. What are we on here today?
106.
106.
107.
No, 106. 106. So yeah, to our viewers, no WandaVision this week. I know everyone's upset about that, but now we're transitioning into the Snyder Cut of things. We know this big event that's coming up, and fortunately for us, we have this really, really special guest here with us today, Mr. Fabian Wagner, or is it pronounced Wagner?
Wagner, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't know myself.
We were debating, like, should we ask? Should we just say it? Okay, we're just gonna flat out say it. So, Fabian Wagner.
But it's Fabian.
It's Fabian.
Yes!
Yes!
There you go.
Eunice as always.
Fabian Wagner, welcome. Please introduce yourself, introduce what you do, and since you are chilling with villains, you have to pick a villain name, any pop culture villain that you feel fits your persona. He's like, yo, what?
I have no idea. I'm the good guy.
On set especially.
Hi guys, my name's Fabian. I'm a cinematographer, and I've also been a cinematographer for Zack Snyder, for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Coming out HBO Max.
March 18th.
March 18th. But Fabian, I'm assuming you also got the virtual premiere invitation. Is that correct?
I have.
That would have been really awkward if you didn't.
There's no way we should have gotten it.
So we'll see you on Monday. But yeah, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I know. So again, what's your name? You know, you were born in Munich, Germany, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And how long? Because I know you went to school afterwards in England. So how long were you in Germany for prior to moving? And how did that sort of like? Was it sort of like a cultural shock for you in a sense? Or how was that whole like experience?
Yeah, sure. You know, I always wanted to move away. I always wanted to work in movies that were more international. So I wanted to get away from Germany. I didn't want to be too far away. So unfortunately, America and Los Angeles was out of the question because I love Los Angeles. And but it was just too far away. And so England, with its rich history of especially, you know, amazing actors and amazing movies was sort of the next step. So I moved to England when I was about 21.
Wow.
Or 20. I've been here for 21. I've been here for 21 years now. So.
Oh wow!
And you just stay there, right? You're just like, yep, I'm here now.
That's where he hangs his cape.
Well, you know, I mean, I didn't plan on probably being that long, but you know, now I have a wife and I have a child here, and I live here. So, but you know, obviously in our job, you know, you move around a lot. I spent probably about 4 years shooting mainly in America and Canada, so I spent a lot of time over there, away from here. So, you know, you're constantly somewhere else. So, but yes, I guess I call this home.
Yeah. Right. No, yeah, I mean, and you said, right, obviously you're a cinematographer. So when I was doing my research, right, and I shouldn't use Wikipedia as my source of reference, but I used it anyway. But this is why, right? So cinematographer or director of photography, sometimes shortened to DP or DOP, mind you, this is all Wikipedia, is the chief over the camera and light crews working on a film, television production, yada, 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 right? In your own words, what is a cinematographer? Because I want to hear from you yourself, like what is the process like? How did you fall in love with it? Where does the creativity come from? Because when I was doing my research, I'm like, this is hard as shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a lot that goes into this.
It's a tough job.
Well, I mean, you know, there's a lot of questions there. I mean, first of all, you know, you've got a lot of visuals, right? So for me, it started, my dad was a painter. So from when I was a baby, I used to watch him paint. You know, he was an amazing painter. So from very early on, I fell in love with art itself, and especially paintings and drawings. Spent hours and hours when I was a kid watching my dad paint. That was a pretty amazing experience. I didn't get any of those painting talents, unfortunately, but I did get a love for visuals. And so early on then I started taking photographs. My dad used to take a lot of photographs, so he gave me his camera. I started taking photographs, and then I started to learn about moving images and always have been in love with movies. And so at some point very early on, when I was about 14, the whole thing sort of came together and clicked in my head and was like, wow, cool, I can make visuals for movies. That sounds pretty cool. And so that's where it kind of came from. And then yes, it's a great job. I mean, I feel like I'm incredibly lucky to have done the things I've done. I'm incredibly lucky to be working and to be making a living with this stuff. I love shooting. I love being on set. I love the people. I love collaborating with people. Mm-hmm. I always say, like, I'm just a kid with a crazy dream, and I still am that same kid with. It still is like a crazy dream to me sometimes, because it's not something that I would consider like obviously it's a job, but if you compare it to a proper job, it's
100%.
You love what you do, yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens when you love what you do. It's like of course it's work, but you're sort of like, I love doing this anyway, so it's a benefit. I love doing it, and I'm getting
look, I don't see this as a job. This is basically my hobby, and yes, this it can be incredibly hard. It can be really tough. You work really long hours, sometimes 18, 19, 20-hour days aren't unusual. You work, you sacrifice a lot in this industry. I mean, I recently said to someone that, I've basically missed everything that normal people do in the first sort of 35 years of their lives. I haven't been to any, stag do. I haven't been to any wedding. I haven't been to any birthday of any mates of mine. Wow. I miss it all because of work. And so, it's, that can sometimes be quite, not so great,
Right.
And then also sometimes you've got really, you're away a lot from your family, which can be pretty tough. So it's not all roses,
Yeah.
But would you say now you sort of found, well, I guess it's dependent, right, on the job you're working on. Sort of like a work-life balance, especially now. You mentioned you have a wife and a kid, and obviously that takes a lot of, that's your family. They need attention just as much as your job. So do you think now more in your life now you found sort of like a balance for that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, my family is my priority, and especially, my mom passed away a couple of years ago. Not I wouldn't say like unexpectedly, but she wasn't old. She was only 70. Mm-hmm. So it kind of came out of the blue, and it was a pretty horrible time for a couple of years.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's, and I miss her a lot, but, it kind of makes you realize, that things can be over before you think.
Life is short, man.
So life is short, and I don't want to get up there at some point and be like, well, I just worked all the time. I love working, like I said, and I'm incredibly lucky to work, and I knock on wood, I hope that it continues because I do love it. But yeah, I've sort of, other things have taken more of a priority to me now because, and the reason why that happened and why I can have that priority shift now is because I did do nothing but work for 20 years of my life. So now I've got to a certain stage where I can choose my jobs a bit more, and I can, so I'm very lucky again,
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, you were doing, things such as, Sherlock, and then obviously a small show on HBO. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it.
Or Game of Thrones?
That one, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really that popular in today's culture. I don't know why. But you had... But you had said something because I was watching that case study, and I thought, so mind you, I don't know shit about cameras and lighting. Like, that's for our guy Ariel Eunice over here. So I was like, when I was watching this, I was still intrigued, and I was very intrigued when you were talking about The Long Night, that season 8 episode where you were saying, the shoot was physically exhausting. They say don't work with animals or kids. We had everything times 100. And just watching that scene, right, for us, for our entertainment, it's like, wow, look at this marvelous thing they created. Yeah. But then behind the scenes, everyone's just sort of like,
it was a grueling experience,
I'm
sure.
exhausted.
Yeah.
How was that? Like, how is, because it kind of goes to what you were talking about before, right? And especially an episode like that, which was it felt like a movie.
Literally called The Long Night. I'm sure every night felt like The Long Night.
The long night for them, for behind the scenes people.
Well, I mean, sure, yeah, it was tough. We were shooting 55 consecutive nights, so that's pretty tough, So I would be on set for about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I would leave set about maybe 5:30 in the morning.
Sleep who?
Well, no, you just sleep, during the morning, basically. I used to, but it was nice for me. My wife was there; she was working on it too. Our dogs were there, so we would we would both go to work. We would bring the dogs along. The dogs were probably the ones who thought, "What the fuck is going on?" They were fucked up by that. And then we would come home at 5 in the morning, and I would go down to the beach and take them for a walk. And then we go to bed at 7 o'clock, and then we wake up at 2. So it was just a bit switched around.
Oh yeah,
but,
switched
around. And yes, it was tough because it was Ireland. So we had snow and wind and rain, and we had like minus 10 degrees, and sometimes it was so cold the gas pipes froze. For the fire.
Oh my goodness.
So that was pretty grueling. But for me, it was. I always feel bad for saying it was really tough, because for me it wasn't that tough. I'm telling people what to do. There's other guys who have to take
He's like, don't take pity on me.
600 meters of cable run, 63 amp cable, which is that thick, and fucking heavy. They have to slide it all the way across the field, or the camera assistants have to push the cameras and all the trolleys to the mud. That's really tough. Right. So I always feel guilty, but in the end, it was fun, and yes, it was tough sometimes, but it was a great experience.
For The Long Night, what cameras did you go with for that when you were shooting those? What kind of cameras or film stock did you use for those?
No, it was always digital, and it's always the Alexa.
Okay.
The Alexa has been my go-to camera personally, but also the go-to camera for Game of Thrones. They've been using that camera from season 1.
Oh, wow. Nice. Because you can, I'm sure, especially shooting at night, you could get a different kind of, there's some advantages to use it to go on digital, I'm sure.
Well, Game of Thrones is not a show that you could have shot on film. It would have been impossible. I was shooting 4 cameras a lot of the time, sometimes 3 cameras. Sometimes 3 cameras most of the time, 4 cameras a lot of the time. There's just no way we could have shot that show. I love shooting film, but that show certainly benefited from digital. It would have been pretty impossible.
Yeah, because I think Fabian, you had mentioned as well, because of the time period that they're in Game of Thrones. It's like you guys are using more like just the natural lights like around you, right? And also, candles and things like that, lamps to light up the room.
Very natural.
That's kind of crazy. That's crazy to me. It's like, how would you even work like that? We struggle with these powerful.
Yeah, we struggle with diffusing light in here.
No. Look. Game of Thrones has the biggest lighting package I've ever seen.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And
it just looks like it's all candles. So it's that's why that show is also so good. Yeah. But no, there's a lot of firepower there.
So I'm sure.
You had said something too, which I thought was funny, was you walked into like the throne room and you're like, how the fuck am I gonna light this place up? How did you get that? Like, where did it? Because you had said something, and I thought you cheated your way out of this answer, because I want a real answer for this. where you were like, oh, it all sort of just came together. How did it all come together?
Well, first of all, when I first came onto Thrones in season 4, that was I had shot a lot of stuff. I had a lot of experience then. But from a size point of view, that was the biggest thing I would ever do. I hadn't done anything of that size. And the throne room is literally as big as it fucking looks. It's not just a small set that looks big. It's actually massive. It's huge, And so when you first get into something like this, plus you go into a show that's already been successful, there's a certain kind of, you're a bit nervous, like, okay.
It was starting to really hit its peak.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't know anyone, so you kind of think, wow, this is a big location. This is bigger than anything I've ever lit. How are you going to do that? But things do just come together, and it is kind of a, obviously I had the help of Tom Gates, my gaffer, who's very amazing with sharing ideas. Also, I could approach the other cinematographers who were there. And then also part of yourself, is, you've just spent a bit of time there, and suddenly your ideas get going and you become comfortable. So it is a process, obviously, that you go through, and
A little bit of trial and error.
Yeah, everything's R&D.
it wasn't like some magic intuition or like.
He's looking at me like, yeah, you fucking idiot. Like, he's like, it just happened, okay? I didn't cheat my answer.
He walked in there and go, no diffusers. Just keep it all there. Let all the light pour in.
But honestly, so Eunice still hasn't seen Game of Thrones. So we're gonna try. I know.
No.
I don't know.
Don't feel sorry for me. I had all the time in the world
No,
to
I
watch
mean, we're
it.
not gonna spoil anything. But I
don't feel sorry.
I just wanted to ask Fabian if you've seen it in its entirety.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen every episode. Yes, I mean I was a fan of it before.
Oh, that's awesome then. He's like,
But I was a fan. I became a big fan when I started shooting it in video.
He's like, oh, when I started coming on and doing my work, that's when I was
Like, after Battle of the Bastards?
Yeah, he's like, Hard Home, that's on me. Hard Home is
I don't fucking rocks, man.
yeah, let's go. Yo, all I have to say for Hard Home is this. Like, when I tell you, Fabian, that was the only episode I've ever watched of any show where I stood up to watch it because I just couldn't take the last act. I was like, someone's gonna die.
Wow.
And like, or many people are gonna die, and I'm gonna be upset and not go to work the next day. And luckily, it didn't turn out that way. I mean, it went to shit, but it didn't turn out that way. And oh my, like, that's insane. And for most of those episodes, I think every episode you've done, besides the ones in season 4, I believe, you worked with a particular director, right?
Miguel Sapochnik.
Yeah, Miguel Sapochnik. So was that something that was already coordinated? Like, was you and him like, oh, we just, or did Dave and Dan go like, yeah, you two, perfect fit, keep doing what you're doing, you're coming back for more?
No, David and Dan wanted me to come back after season 4, and I was meant to work with a different director, but that particular director actually dropped out like a couple of months before we started filming. So they were like, shit, we need to get someone, and they found Miguel, and so I ended up with Miguel, and it was like a match made in heaven. Basically, we just became very good friends straight away.
That's awesome. Dope.
That's
That's
lucky.
excellent.
So it was lucky meet, and I'm very glad that we met.
How important is that relationship for like a cinematographer with a director? Like, is it like, can you tell like, oh, maybe they didn't get along just by watching something, or is it like more hard to tell?
It's hard. I think it's hard to tell whether they didn't get along. I think you can tell when they really go along.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can tell when it's great, but you can't tell when it's bad.
When it's great. It's natural like any other relationship. You have to meet the right person, and everybody's different, and creatively everyone's different. So, it's just something, either it fits or it doesn't fit. And obviously you still do a job even though you don't get on maybe sometimes, or it's not quite the right fit, but you still do a good job and you still do your best. But when it fits, like, you can tell, I think. Like, for example, Scandal in Belgravia with Paul McGuigan, we had become really good friends on Sherlock. We had become really good friends for that episode. We had become like creative, like partners in crime, basically. We just both went like mad on what can we do to make this show awesome, and we pushed each other. And I think you can really tell in that episode, because that episode, I think, is really good.
For sure.
Yeah. Was that the episode? Because I personally haven't watched. Everyone's like, watch Sherlock. Like, it's short.
So good.
Like, it's like what, like 3 episodes a season or something like that. It's like something crazy,
awesome.
right?
Yeah,
That's dope.
Yeah.
They're like, everybody's like, what? But it's like, oh, but they're like an hour and a half, 2 hours long.
That's cool.
But you had said something, and I had brought this up to Ariel earlier because I was like, what is that? Like, what are we working on here? You experimented with flares on Sherlock, right? And
Lens
one particular scene, you used a fishing wire on
crazy.
the back of the lens for the
crazy.
scene.
Yeah.
So the scene where Watson gets drugged, and like the case study showed that scene, so I got to see it, and I saw like the flare movement. I was like, wow, like I know exactly. I would never notice it.
I can't
So-
imagine that's a fishing wire. It's crazy.
So I'm assuming it's a technique that's been used prior, right? It's something that's common.
Yeah, I can't take any credit for that, unfortunately.
He's like, yeah, that was on me. The fish net, yeah, on me. I used to fish back in the day, and this is what
They call it the Wagner wire.
the Wagner wire.
I mean, that has a ring to it. No, it's a very old. It's actually a very old stills photography trick that
Okay.
and so I just I was thinking about things to do, and I just tried it one day, and I think we were probably one of the first shows that have used that technique, maybe in TV or film. I don't know, for a long, long time. I think that might be the only credit we can take.
Nah, it's the Wagner
And then
wire,
there
bro.
was
That's
a few
it.
people after
Wagner
us. So
That's
there was a few
it
people
now.
after us that did it too.
Yeah.
And anytime I'm watching something with like flare,
With
I'm
lens
like,
flare?
the-
That's
the
not
Wag-
J.J. Abrams anymore. It's the Wagner wire.
Wagner
That's
wire.
it.
Thank you very much. Put some respect, please. And you had also said something in that, which resonated with me a lot because it's like, so you said honor what's been done before, but also change the things you thought didn't work that well. Plus, also adding your own stamp on it. And that's referring to you talking about, obviously for Game of Thrones, each season had about 5 DOPs, right? So it's like, you can't really do much of your own things on Game of Thrones. You said you have more liberty with Sherlock, obviously, because they brought you in. And it's like, okay, you're Sherlock was more of a free roam, right? While Game of Thrones was more, okay, like I have to sort of just stick to this thing. Is that true, or how does that work for you?
No, I mean it's kind of true. I mean Sherlock's a free one because just of the genre, and Sherlock you can do anything you want. Thrones is a very classic kind of show, classic framing, classic setups. So what I was trying to say is you have to stay within. If you're doing a show, you have to stay within the realms of that
course,
show, within
yeah.
that world.
Yeah.
But within that world, you can go anywhere you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, some people go down here and some people go up here. It still stays within that thing, and that's where you put your own stamp on things.
Got it.
And we've done a lot of things. I think on Thrones, because we were lucky getting those big battle episodes, so we could,
You had a lot of
come
range.
out of it a little bit. So we made, I think on Thrones, we made that bubble maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Nice.
What's your absolute favorite shot? Do you have one, or do you have a tier of favorite shots that you have of yours? And
Top
are they
5.
framed in your home everywhere? Because I know if it was me, that one of the Night King like this, bro, that's in the bathroom, that's in the shower, like that's in the kitchen. I'm like, yeah, you see that? That was me.
No, there's more to life than that.
He's like, I'm not an
Wow,
asshole.
yeah, he's like,
He's
right,
I'm
he's
not
like-
an
That's an
asshole.
aerial answer right there.
It's like, oh, these Americans.
Yeah, sure, but there's lots of life. I think we've done lots of good frames on Thrones.
Oh, 100%.
Especially in the
I
long
would-
night.
Battle of the Bastards too. I mean that when Jon Snow's getting charged by
Yeah, and with the sword,
with
yeah.
the sword.
Yeah, I mean, I like that particular shot because when we shot it, because when that came out, a lot of people were talking about CGI here,
It was
CGI
all
there.
real, baby.
The actual show was actually all for real. So yeah.
Yeah.
Kid Harington got trampled by horses.
Like right here, confirmed.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask too. I don't know if you because Kid had come out and said that during that scene, like he's very claustrophobic. So with those bodies piled up around him, how was he afterwards? Was he sort of
Rattled or
yeah?
timid?
Was everybody like, okay, Kid, like you need to calm down, or you're like, I don't care, like I was
We got
just doing
the
my
shot.
thing. Yeah, we got the shot.
No, I think, to be honest, I can't remember, but what I do remember is, we were all pretty charged up on that show, on that scene, and after shooting that, because we had, I don't know, 500 people, 600 extras, everybody in there, we just shot that show.
COVID.
We had just shot that show, yeah, COVID. We had just shot that shot of Kid coming up through the whole bunch, and the crane pulls up, and that was a cool shot, and so we were all sort of excited. And then we were like, come on, Kid, let's go down here and shoot that trampling thing. And so I think everybody was just like,
That's awesome.
Everyone said, "Fuck Kid's feelings." We just got a perfect shot.
he's always up for anything. Like he's like the first one. If you say, Kid, lie down here in the mud and I'll stick a camera in your face and we get some people to trample on you. He's like, yeah, let's do it.
The Tom Cruise.
He's like,
of Game
I
of
have
Thrones.
claustrophobic, but it's okay. Let's do it. Fabian, Fabian, excuse me. You see, I already messed up.
Yeah, bro.
Shit,
I've been
my-
looking at you. I was like,
Yo,
fam,
Fabian,
it's not like that, bro.
Fabian, okay. Fabian, how much time do we still have left with you? Because I know you're running a tight schedule. You have the press, the Zack Snyder's press. I know you have all this stuff. How much time do we have left with you right now?
Well, 10 minutes if that's all right.
10 minutes. Perfect.
So
Okay.
let's go over Zack.
Let's go over Zack then.
So I guess we'll just skip to the main event, right? Because what everyone listening is like, come on, hurry up. I don't care about Game of Thrones.
Nah, y'all better care about Game of Thrones.
Nah, yeah, you better start watching.
Soon, I got you.
So there's a rumor going around about you in the sphere, and I don't want to be the one to spread it, Maybe I'm the one that started it. I'm just joking. But did you? No, you've heard it before, definitely. That you started tearing up when you saw the 2017 version of the whatever film that was, the fan-made film that was made in 2017.
I think I said that, didn't I?
Oh, so you're the one that started the own rumor.
I
You started your rumor. It was me. It was me the whole time.
It was me. Well, look, I think it was more. I actually can't remember exactly what happened. I think it was more of a metaphor for. I mean, I'm a very emotional guy, and I do like to cry sometimes.
Me too.
Same.
I think it was more of a metaphor of saying that the movie that I saw in 2017 was nothing to do with the movie that I and Zack and the whole team had shot in 2016.
Right.
So yes, it's kind of true.
It's okay because I cry too. Like we all cry, and I think that has to do with the effect that these films and series have on us.
Yeah.
Because it resonates when it's shot well, when it's done well, written well, everything meshes, and it really that's the point of filmmaking is to resonate with the person.
And you said it yourself. I mean, like right in the beginning of Justice League, after watching Man of Steel and BVS, like right in the beginning of Justice League, you already knew.
You're like, that's not Zack.
As soon as I started watching, I'm like, wait, this looks weird.
And right, Zack has his own, and you had said what? You had a 2-hour meeting with him, right? And that's how, and they called you up after that, and that's how you got the job for this? Because Larry Fong he worked on Man of Steel and BVS. And so far from the trailers...
Man of Steel was actually someone else.
Was it Fong?
No, it wasn't Fong from Man of Steel. It was somebody else, I think.
Wow, I'm just going to...
Mokri, who's an amazing DP too. But
no,
obviously Larry is Zack's usual DP, so I was very lucky to get in there. I know Larry well and met him quite a few times, and he's an amazing DP, and he's someone I've always admired from a cinematography standpoint, and obviously Zack is someone I've always admired from a director's point of view. I've always loved his films, so to be able to shoot with him was awesome, and amazing. And yes, I think in the beginning I seriously couldn't believe that I'm shooting that movie with him,
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
How fun was it using IMAX cameras? If you guys used those.
We didn't use IMAX. We were shooting on Super 35, so we were shooting the full
frame stock.
I was like, I don't know what it means, but it does sound super. It does sound really big.
We were shooting a full frame, and so the IMAX conversion is being done after, but that works really well. That's quite a common thing these days.
Yeah.
IMAX is pretty cool. IMAX is also pretty, it's big cameras, and so no, we didn't do that.
My thing is, how does Redemption feel right now? Because I can't imagine, for us as fans who've been asking for this, like it feels good for us, but I can't imagine for the people that actually worked on it and actually, because 100%, I was joking around earlier with the whole, tearing up when watching, but you're very, very much in the right. So, because imagine something you worked hard on, something that you felt came out really, really well, and then you go and watch it, and it's like, it's a fucking piece of shit. I'm just going to say what it is. It's a fucking piece of shit. So for you, it must feel like, thank you. Like, I cannot wait to show, because this is your vision as well. Yeah, of course, the overall theme, like, Terrio writing, Zack directing, but, if it wasn't for some of your shots, the movie wouldn't feel complete. So how does that redemption arc feel?
Well, first of all, I'm just super happy for Zack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because Zack is probably one of the nicest people you could ever meet. And obviously also super talented. But he's just a very, very, very nice person. Like, it's, and we must not forget that he's been through a huge personal tragedy.
100%, yeah.
Which was the reason why he actually stepped away from the movie. So, that's another reason why all of this happened. So to me, that's always, so it's a bit bittersweet because to me, that's always in the back of my head,
Yeah.
And the horrible stuff that he's been through in the last few years. So now that he was able to finish this, I think it's amazing, which is one reason why I'm so super grateful to this movement and to the fans, because it's something that's never happened before.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's history.
The director has a chance to actually edit the film again to the point of how they were going to do it 4 or 5 years ago. That's pretty amazing that that's happened. Yeah. And so, yes, of course, I feel happy that I'm going to get to see the movie that I shot with Zack. We spent a long time. We spent 125 days shooting. We spent a long time talking about it. We spent a long time prepping it. You know, I've said this on multiple occasions, I've had the best time of my life shooting with Zack. You know, that experience working on this movie. So yes, I feel, you know, I'm just very, very happy that Zack gets to do his movie the way he's always, you know, I remember the first meeting I had, he told me everything about this film.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And so I knew what this film would have been like, and obviously to see it completely different was not what I expected and not what I wanted. And so to know now that this is what we've done is great.
That's awesome, man. So, Fabian, almost did it again. I caught myself perfect. Fabian, before we let you leave, we just have a couple of fan questions here. Do you have them pulled up?
Yes.
Oh, okay, you better.
Okay, so one question asks, what were the challenges faced as a cinematographer working on a huge CGI-heavy movie?
He's like, none. I'm so good at this.
Wagner wire, dude.
Everything's a challenge, you know, everything's a challenge. But I don't call them challenges as a challenge. I think they're just, you know, it's things that you learn, there's people that you collaborate with. It's more of an opportunity to learn and to work with people and to create something, you know. I love that, you know. I've done a lot of CGI. There's a shitload more that I need to learn, but I love doing it and I enjoy doing it. And it was a great experience on Justice League doing it with those guys, you know, because they're awesome and they know their shit. So, and the same with the Thrones guys, you know, so two very different teams, two very different looks, but both, you know, I think work really well. So, no, I don't call it, it's a challenge, but it's more of an opportunity to create something, you know?
Yeah, dope.
It's a great answer. Holy shit.
That was a fantastic answer. Basically what I said, but elaborated. Like, I'm the shit. I know what I'm doing.
Another question. This is actually a Game of Thrones question. It says, what was your favorite episode to DP? On Game of Thrones, yeah.
On Thrones, well, I enjoy all my Thrones episodes, which is the reason why I came back every season, you know. Probably, I would say that my favorite episode is episode 10 of season 6, Winds of Winter.
Oh yeah.
My goodness.
Fantastic.
What an episode.
Fantastic episode.
all the green.
That's all you need to know.
I'm just like, wow, the winds of that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you should start
I
watching
think
it.
Ramin did an amazing job with the music. You know, the opening that we shot was very different to Thrones. It just had a whole
No
different
dialogue, right? That one started with no dialogue, I believe.
No dialogue at all.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Maybe one more question?
Yeah, I'll get one more question. It says, okay, in terms of color palette, what's your inspiration? Like, I guess in terms of like figures in the past or just what's your inspiration for color palettes in whatever project you work with?
I mean, that's tough. I mean, you know, it's always different. You know, every movie, every TV show you do is different, so you get inspired by different things. I mean, I do watch. There's a couple of movies that I watch before I start any job, and most of the time, those jobs have nothing to do visually with what I'm doing or with the movie that I love. Like one of my favorite movies is In the Mood for Love, right? Wong Kar-wai. And the colors in that movie and the framing and the composition in the movie is just unbelievable. I suggest to anyone to watch that movie.
It is on HBO Max.
It down.
We're gonna watch this right after this.
It's on HBO Max. So
and the colors are beautiful, and so I always watch that just as even if it has nothing to do with what I'm doing. I just watch it as an inspiration of the things that you can do because it's so fucking good in that film. That's awesome. Then there's a few things like that. So, but yeah, it depends on what you're doing. Obviously.
That's awesome, Fabian. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, man.
We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you, teaching us, or at least myself, more about cameras and lighting and how that all plays out. Because again, cinematographers, they are behind the scenes, but doing a lot of it. Like if the scene wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for a cinematographer.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course.
The catalyst of the director's vision.
Exactly. So thank you for that.
We're all still learning.
Look at him trying to be humble.
He's like, I'm a Jedi, but I'm a Padawan.
And also just enjoy Monday. Enjoy Zack's vision and your work on Monday. And I'm sure the diehard fans are going to enjoy it. And hopefully, if we're lucky enough.
So that's what it's for. Thank you guys for fighting for it.
100%.
course.
And hopefully we'll get a 2 and 3, and hopefully Zach will bring you back for that as well.
Get the
If you
Wagner
want to do
Wire.
it, of course.
Two more films.
Wagner Wire.
2 more films.
Wagner Wire, 2 more films. But yeah, also make sure to like, comment, subscribe, comment down any other things you want to say to Fabian, and it is confirmed he did cry. So thanks again.
Thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we'll let you know when it's up and everything, and I'll send you all the details.
No, we'll do it again. That was fun. I like you guys. We'll do it again at some point. Stay in touch.